not a dog, I said, stupidly. This was my first mistake. 1 5-hour drive later, a tiny little ball of fluff was in my arms and my fate was sealed. A mere few months later, I found myself saying, I want another dog, and it was a downhill slope from there. Now I have 4 Pomeranians running my house. Little brats are addictive. So I'm here to talk about Pomeranians, so that you may save yourself from my fate, or maybe just find yourself wanting one too. First off, I'll tell you a little bit about the breed in general, where we'll talk about history, ancestry, and personality. Secondly, we'll talk about how to identify a purebred, where we'll discuss fur, body shape, and face type. Lastly, we'll discuss colors, where we'll talk about why orange Poms are so common, how to identify the color of your Pom, and coat patterns. First off, let's talk a little bit about the breed in general. We'll talk about history, ancestry, and personality. As for history, the Pomeranian was made popular by Queen Victoria, who loved the breed. At one point, she owned 35 Pomeranians, and at her death requested one be at her bedside. Though Queen Victoria made the breed popular, before her, her grandmother Queen Charlotte owned 2 Poms, who she adored so much she took them with her to be painted. Marie Antoinette, Harry Houdini, Charles Darwin, and Isaac Newton all owned Poms, though it's fabled Newton's Pom Diamond set fire to 20 years of work by knocking over a candle. These famous owners set the stage for Pomeranians being a luxury breed associated with the rich and regal. In fact, 2 Pomeranians survived the sinking of the Titanic. As for ancestry, Pomeranians are a member of the Spitz family. Dogs in the Spitz family are generally intelligent and bred to work. A prime example of this is the Husky, an iconic sled dog. Of course, when one looks at the noble Husky, powerful and as close to wolves as we may get in domestic dogs, and then turn their gaze to the tiny furball with legs yipping at their ankles, they may not see the similarity. However, Pomeranians were once larger sled dogs like their Spitz brothers, and is only the result of years of selective breeding that we see curled up on our laps today. This ancestry accounts for many of the traits associated with the breed now. As for personality, because they were originally built to pull sleds for miles on end, Pomeranians are often considered one of the most energetic designer breeds and are known to be both bold and stubborn. Some say Pomeranians haven't realized they're small now and can still be seen picking fights with dogs that could easily end the fight by stepping on them. Still, Poms are far from their sled dog days. The AKC classifies Pomeranians as a companion breed, and they are known to be quite attached to their owners. Their intelligence and energy make them lively, entertaining pets, as inquisitive as they are entitled. They are animated, spunky little things who think they rule not only the yard, the block, or the neighborhood, but the world. From being the love of royalty to their silver spoon attitude, it's no wonder Pomeranians have earned the title of a luxury breed, now running around the heels of celebrities like Kim Kardashian and Jeffree Star, who at one point owned 6 Poms at once. Secondly, we'll talk about how to identify a purebred. We'll discuss fur, body shape, and face type. Pomeranians are a pretty recognizable breed, whose fluffy coat and small size are as eye-catching as they are iconic. But depending on how much a Pomeranian matches these expectations, their cost can skyrocket, often landing in the thousands. I paid about $1,500 for my most expensive dog, Luna. We'll talk about fur first, since it's such a distinctive mark of the breed. As you can see, Luna's undercoat is gray, but the longer hairs standing off of it fade to black. A Pom's undercoat can be a different color than their outer coat, but this isn't necessarily always the case, as we can see with Mochi here, whose fur is the same color all the way through. We'll talk a little bit more about why this is later. We'll talk about body shape second. A Pomeranian should be small. They can be anywhere from 3 to 7 pounds, but the smaller they are, the more you're going to pay. Luna here is only about 5 pounds under all her fur. A Pomeranian should have a short, compact body, and the tail should be curled up to fan across the back. The legs should be short and fluffy, and the paws should be small and round. We'll talk about face type third. Many Poms have what's called a fox-type face, where the snout is long and the ears are pointed. The other option is what's called the teddy bear face, where the muzzle is instead short and close to the face and the ears are round. Lastly, we'll talk about color. We'll talk about why orange Poms are so common, how to identify the color of your palm and coat patterns. So firstly, why are orange palms so common? I found that many people less familiar with the breed think that palms only come in orange. This is the most common color because Queen Victoria's palm was orange, and like we talked about earlier, she is responsible for the breed's popularity. People began breeding for orange specifically, and it became the most desirable color for many years. Because of this, many palms are orange today, but this color is not all there is. Pomeranians come in a near endless assortment of colors. So, secondly, we'll discuss how to identify the color of your palm. All Pomeranians are either black or chocolate, though of course their actual appearance changes based on their genetic makeup. You can tell what color your palm is by looking at their nose or the paws of their feet. Though other genes have changed how her coat really looks, known as a black dog, we can tell because of her nose, and both her feet are black. However, Hollister here is chocolate. His nose and his paws are both brown. However, you may have noticed Hollister does not look very chocolate. This is because there are other colors that can lay over the top of the coat without changing the whole color. So, thirdly, we'll discuss coat pattern. One example of these patterns is dilution, a gene that washes out the coat color a few shades without changing much else. Hollister is diluted, which is why he appears more beige than he does chocolate. Another example of this is what's called marrowing. A marrow dog has patches of dilution. Cookie here is a black dog. We know because her nose. However, you can see her coat is speckled with patches of gray. Marrowing is interesting because it can go over any part of the body, not just the fur. It can leave patches on the nose, paws, or even the eyes. If you see a paw with blue eyes, it's likely a marrow. Aside from dilution and marrowing, there's one last coat color change that can take place without changing the coat color entirely. If you recall, I mentioned Luna's outer coat was a different color than her undercoat. This is because she's what's called a sable, meaning her guard hairs are black at the tips. Hopefully, you all learned a little bit about Pomeranians. First off, we talked a little bit about the breed in general, where we talked about history, ancestry, and personality. Secondly, we talked about how to identify a purebred, where we discussed fur, body shape, and face type. Lastly, we discussed colors, where we talked about why orange palms are so common, how to identify the color of your palm, and coat patterns. Thank you for letting me show off my braids, and if you ever feel like you want a little fluff ball of your own, hit a girl up.